people. We thank you for making time for us. You have turned your social media platform right here to a wonderful discussion once more and again. Don't mind the backgrounds. It's nothing but real talk and real conversation. It's your man, Andy Brown, right here, giving y'all that good flavor. And I am in the presence of beautiful women with beautiful vibes on a beautiful discussion topic right here. As you all know, the lovely and talented Miss Mia Ferguson is in the building. What's going on, Mia?
Hey.
And your favorite real auntie is in the game once again. Tyann, what's happening, blonde bombshell?
Of course. Hello, everyone.
Welcome once, welcome twice. And also, ladies and gentlemen, joining us for the very first time, you are about to be graced by a wonderful presence, a beautiful smile, and a captivating, dynamic presence here on the online platform. Let's give it up and give some good game, hit some likes, hit some subscribes, and give us some class, which means click, like, and subscribe to the channel. And welcome the lovely Miss Carolyn Hill from the 5 Strong Scholarship Foundation. Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you, God. With all those accolades, I was wondering who you was talking about.
Did it make you feel good on the inside and out every single time?
This is the
no
real
one
deal.
does it like Andy. No one does it like Andy.
Received. Cheers to that.
Yes. We have to say thank you so much because Andy he brings us in and just lightens us all up so we just have a wonderful conversation as we are all here to provide our parents and our students of the college and high school experience, going through these things, navigating through these places. That's what the Real World University is here for, to take us through the conversations that we need to have so that we can make real good decisions that affect us in real time in the real world. So, Carolyn, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to come here and represent 5 Strong. I was so excited when I met you and I came back and told my team. I was like, there's more of them out there like us, guys. They're out here doing the work that we're doing. You shared such a dynamic story about the work that you guys do, and I just knew that this would be a perfect conversation to have. So without further ado, I would love for you to just give our audience and let us know exactly what 5 Strong is, your mission, what you do, how you got here, and then we can just get into some other conversation.
Wow. Listen, and again, guys, thank you. It is an honor to be here. And same, Mia, when I met, you was a kindred soul. So I knew that whatever I could do to help promote the education of our parents, of our students, I want to do my part. So again, my name is Carolyn Hill. I am the program director for 5 Strong Scholarship Foundation. We are a nonprofit that partners with HBCUs. We currently have 14 HBCUs that we're partnering with. And what we do is we offer full tuition scholarships to our scholars based off of the criteria that we have. And one of the things I want to say about that is that when you think about our students, you think about we have a lot of incredible students that are good tests, that are good in class. They're good grades. They're good in sports. But when you come to that test, those tests, they don't do well. And what we find is that when you are getting funding for scholarships, they're definitely looking at those test scores. So our founder, Mr. Andrew Ragland, who was a counselor in Atlanta Public Schools for about 12 years, he used to work with students to get them into an organization called Posse. Now, what Posse is an organization that works with PWIs to offer full tuition scholarships as well. So we kind of mirrored that process. What he realized was that no one was working with HBCUs like that. So he decided that he wanted to start the program. And that's really how our program got birthed. The reason that we actually have the number 5 is because when we were thinking about working with HBCUs, we realized the financial strains that a lot of them have. And with our program, the funding for those full tuition scholarships come directly from the universities. So we wanted to make sure that when we engage with them that we didn't ask for too much. Because with Posse, they typically send 10 students. Well, we said, well, we'll just do 5. And again, so what we do is we go in and we talk to them and we say, hey, listen, we've got kids that are on the honor roll, but their test scores are in the 800s, in the 13s and the 11s. And those are the kids that we coined in the academic middle, meaning that they got really good grades, they're involved, but they didn't do well on the test scores. And typically when that happens, you don't get the funding. You don't get a full tuition scholarship. And what I always tell my parents is, If you can get tuition paid for, that's the bulk of the cost. And so creating a program that allows those students that wouldn't necessarily be able to walk on those HBCU campuses and get those tuitions, those scholarships is what we, is the heart of what we do. We've been around for about 10 years. Again, we partner with 14 different HBCUs. And what we do is we say, we don't just pick anybody. So in reality, we're an extension of the recruiting systems for our HBCUs. But the difference with our scholars is we actually vet them. Our scholars have to go through a 3-round interview process. If they meet our minimum requirements, which is a 3.0, a 19 on the ACT, or a 990 on the SAT. If they meet those requirements, they are automatically eligible for our scholarship. We don't look at how much the parents make, or we don't take into consideration, anything that's going on outside of that. If they meet those minimum requirements, they're automatically eligible. And the way that our process works is we go through 3 rounds of interviews, because our commitment to our HBCUs is that these kids that we're sending, they're going to be ready day one. You're not going to have to deal with some of the necessarily issues that you would have, because once they become scholars, we take them through a process. But the interview process is the first round. It's if you qualify, you automatically come. And that's typically anywhere between 300 to 400 students each year.
Wow.
And what we do is we say, hey, listen, we don't need kids that's going to go sit in their dorms. We don't need you. You've got to get involved. We want you to become a part of the community. So we take them through this process where they have to interview as a group, then they interview individually, and then they interview as a panel. And then once they get to that process, we have the ability to take 5 students for each of our 14 schools. And because some of our scholars have really done an amazing job, some of our schools are allowing us to send more. But once they become a scholar, then they have to go through our interview process and our college ready prep city process. Because again, we know that transitioning from high school to college is a totally different world, and not to be cliche, but it really is. And so we try to prepare them for that. They have to commit to our schools. They have to commit to our program, because not only are we preparing them to go to college and on this full tuition scholarship, but we want them to be able to maneuver when they get on campus. So we talk about everything. We talk about what you do when you don't like your roommate. Because how many of you all know that when you go on campus, you don't always get the right roommate. And so we talk to them about that. We talk to them about conflict resolution. We talk to them about relationships. In this day and age, relationships is everything. And so we talk to them about them. We talk to them about, hey, listen, know your professor. Because if your professor knows you and you're teetering between a C and a D, I guarantee you he's going to give you that C. But if you don't ever show up to class and he don't know you, you're going to get that D. So we talk to them about that. We talk to them about speaking up for themselves and making sure that they are going through the right channels, making sure that they understand what's expected of them. A lot of our students are first generation students. They don't have anybody that's been through that experience. They don't have anybody that can tell them, okay, yeah, go to the financial aid or go to the registrar, how to maneuver around school. They don't have that. So our goal really is to get these kids, give them the support, not just when they get there, but even when they graduate. One of the things that we realize is that if you don't want to be somewhere, you're not going to do nothing. So we take the kids on campus, because you got kids coming from Atlanta going to rural Huntsville, Alabama. Sometimes that's culture shock. And
Right.
we just want to make sure that, listen, you're going to take these 4 years and you're going to commit to yourself and you're going to sacrifice and become a part of this community. For us, HBCUs are resources. I tell all of these kids, it's over 107 HBCUs. All of them will get you where you want to go. But
I have a question for you, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Can
we use everything you just said for a commercial for us? I'm sorry.
So it touches a lot. It touches a lot about the broader scale of it. So what I want to know is, you're doing some great work, first and foremost. Was there one inspiration or one aha moment or one young individual that stood out that says, this may be going in a different path to where we need to reach more than just this one individual? What inspired the idea for Five Strong?
So what was happening was, again, our founder worked in Atlanta Public Schools, and no offense to counselors or anybody, but what we were finding is that counselors were so overloaded with their workloads, and they just didn't have the time to give the students the time that they need to really understand the process of transitioning. And so, perfect example, we had a student, one of our very first scholars. He actually had a 2.75 when he graduated. Alabama A&M, which was one of our first HBCUs, allowed us to send him to Alabama A&M with a 2.57 GPA and paid his tuition. This young man went in and did the work. He did so good that he became the face of Alabama A&M. So when you came into Huntsville, you would see this big board of him. Not only that, it took a kid who really never thought that college was an option, and it showed him what it's like when you do the work. That young man now has a master's that his employer paid for. He's a fellow at Johns Hopkins. He's on track to become a principal, to give back. And so when you think about those students who really don't think that they can go, and a lot of times they think, I've got to go to the service to, get them to pay for it. Being able to show them that there is benefits in looking into some of these smaller HBCUs that are designed for them, and the one thing that we also talk about is we want our kids to go debt free. We don't want them to, have to have any money when they pay. And the beauty of our HBCUs, what a lot of people don't understand, is that we got money, but you got to qualify for it. Nobody's going to give it to you. And
right. So Carolyn, I just want to be clear. You guys, when you go into these schools, you are saying to these schools, hey, listen, we have these students. We want you to allocate X amount of dollars from your budget to our kids. Okay. So because you understand that they have this money, and they say to Five Strong, okay, listen, we have enough to give 5 kids from your program a full ride at this school. That is amazing.
It's not a full ride, it's full tuition.
Full tuition. I'm sorry. Okay.
Full tuition.
Okay.
But the beauty of that also, Mia, is that if our students qualify for additional scholarships that are not tuition, like if they get a sports scholarship, if they get room and board, if they qualify for those, these schools are giving them to them. So really about 70% of our students graduate debt free.
That's beautiful.
70%.
70%.
That's beautiful.
70%. So the national graduation rate for HBCUs is right at around 42. For us, our graduation rate for our scholars are right at about 80%. Because, not only do we make sure that they're going on campus and they're getting involved, but they got my number 24/7. They can call me for anything. And so we just take a really, and not just the students, the parents as well, because as I said, a lot of these parents, don't have a clue of how things work. Prime example, Saturday I was at a college fair. A lady came to my table with her son, and she was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, what do you mean you know what to do? She's like, someone told me to come to your table to help me figure out what I need to do. And that for me is really the reason that we exist and why we're doing so well, is because I get it. When I was in school, my mother didn't know how to do FAFSA. My mother didn't know that. And so now being able to help a parent who doesn't understand, what they need to do, how the process starts, it really shows that not only what we're doing is working, but we're doing work that's not just helping that student, it's helping that entire family. Because once you get,
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? So once you get the first one out, you got the other ones. But so we look at this holistically, because we know studies show that support is the main reason why students don't finish school, be it financial, be it emotional, and we're just trying to fill the gap.
Right.
So my
And
folks who are just now tuning in and getting some of this good game, Miss Carolyn Hill, the program director for Five Strong Scholarship Foundation, has joined us here at the Real University. You mentioned the parents, right? Somebody coming to you. How do people find you? Like, what is the method that people need to reach out? Because I know you've worked with about 13, is it 13 or 14 HBCUs?
It's 14.
14?
We've got an office in Houston as well. So we've got 2 Texas schools, Texas Southern and Hudson Tilson, that we also partner with, but those are specifically for students in Houston area. But we're on college board websites. When you go in to search for scholarships, we're there. We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. A lot of what we do is word of mouth, doing stuff like this, because what we find is, even when we go into these schools, a lot of people don't even know what an HBCU is.
right.
I live in an area where I have students that they're never introduced to HBCUs. And so as our program grows, this is our 10th year. We are starting to branch out into the different counties, but word of mouth, getting involved, working with other organizations. We have an organization that we partner with that teaches the kids how to find scholarships. I tell every student, there is so much money out here that there is no reason for anybody to pay for college. None.
And what's your partner, Carolyn? What's the name of the partner that you guys work with?
Scholarship Academy. Jessica Johnson. She's Atlanta Public Schools, but she started out with us. She was a graduate from Howard, and she got over $1 million in scholarships. And she just from that launched her own organization where she literally takes kids, look at their gap that they have that they need to fund their schools, and help them find ways to get that money. And one of the things that we tell our kids is, looking for scholarships is your part-time job. That's what you are here for, because it's too much money that goes unused every year. And so just again, through word of mouth, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and on college scholarship websites, where you can find us there.
Now I have a question. So as far as you extending yourselves to the other universities, that's got to be a process, right? That's got to be a process. And I'm assuming that there's multiple meetings that have to be had to actually go in, have a conversation. I'm assuming maybe an admissions conversation, someone who manages a budget. Like, what does that process look like? Because see, another reason why the Real is here, right, is because no one would ever believe that there's someone at this capacity advocating to get these schools to give their dollars to them, right? And people believe that these things are just like, oh, you just ask. Obviously, it's not that easy. But what is that process to get these HBCUs to say, sure, Five Strong, we're going to give you a budget for your kids? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So what we do, we primarily work with the VP of admissions. And we try to, and again, a lot of it is finding that connect. Our founder is a Kappa, so he tried to use all those connections. So if there's someone working within that university that he knows that can put him in touch with admissions, or is someone like that, that's how we do that. And then we go in and we present an MOU that will actually spell out what it is we want to offer them in return for them actually putting aside these tuitions. And what we found really is, when we look at the data, the students that we are presenting to them are actually the ones that are graduating on time, and or at least within 5 years. And so as they're beginning to see the return of investment of just investing, it makes a difference.
Right. It's worth it. And what you said to me was, we utilize our relationships, because Tyon has been, and we clearly, so just to give it, let me back up and give you some history here. Tyon and our parents went to Morgan together. I've literally known her my entire life. Our mothers were best friends up until God took them home, right? My dad went to Morgan. So they all went to school together. And we watched our moms and our families utilize their relationships when we turned around and went to Morgan, right? So now we're second generation. And when we have people who will call us and say, hey, so my daughter wants to go to Morgan. I can't get this. I call Tyann because Tyann used to work in admissions. Tyann, call so. And she gets on it because what you said to me was we're utilizing our relationships to continue to support the village. And again, that is the reason why we started this platform, because people underestimate the power of relationships, the power of networking. Tyann has been beating down my door for the last 20 years about being active with our alumni association, because she is very much so active. And I'm going to say it out loud because this is going to force me to do it one day, right? But it's the importance of the relationship. So what you're saying to us, to the public, to everybody who needs to hear it, is that these relationships don't just stop. If you continue to cultivate them, it will benefit those you don't even know who you're going to touch.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we teach our students is relationships will get you indoors that your grades will not get you in.
Absolutely.
And so building relationships is key. You know, we from internships to making sure, I tell my students, when you are on your campus, you be that person that they go to, because there are students that have actually traveled the world off of their from their HBCUs. And if you become that person that they are. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Oh, good.
I can't see y'all no more. But I see y'all now. I tell my students, listen, you know, it's about relationships. A lot of times they don't see the value in that. But we also teach them to give back. When you go to school and you graduate, come back. Our scholars come back and they talk to our students and they build those relationships and they become mentors. And then, you know, it becomes a trickle down effect, because they're understanding the benefit of it. But Tyann, as a president of a National Alumni Association for my university, I'm with you. Stay on her. Stay on her.
Right on.
Don't start no mess now, Carolyn.
That matters. Listen.
He stays on me
all day long. Because well, the other aspect of that is understanding, and I think this may help with the relationship building. The alumni are the core of the givers.
That's it.
We're the core of the givers. Now, when I came out, you know, I wasn't blessed with an endowment on my own of millions of dollars to be able to open up a scholarship fund in mine and my mom's name. But my method of giving back is the same way that my mom gave back to me. I'm going to place you back at my alma mater, because my alma mater is now going to get whatever tuition you got to pay. Absolutely. So every time I place someone at my alma mater, I am putting them in a position to be able to give back to the next one and have a continual flow into our university. Because I'll say this out loud, and a lot of people don't like that I say it. We don't have the long money like some of the Ivy League institutions.
That's right.
We don't.
That's right. We don't.
But what we can do is continue to spread the word about our institutions to keep our enrollment up. And that's also a way of giving back. But Carolyn, I did have one question for you myself. And I know that you mentioned that this endeavor kind of started in the Atlanta area. Our footprint is basically national. Do you have any plans of either expanding, or is the scholarship assistance available to those outside of the Atlanta area?
So we do have another office in Houston that's servicing the Texas area. Our goal is to make this national. Our goal is to be able to provide this because it's needed. The studies show, numbers show, it's needed because nobody's doing it. Nobody's telling our kids how amazing our HBCUs are. Nobody's telling them that there's money out there for them to go to. When I go to these college fairs, I see them all running to the Army and the Navy. And I tell them, you don't have to do that. There's money out there. So, you know, the goal is to tell everybody no matter where they're at, you know. And when we think about alumni, one of the things that we work closely with alumni associations, because those are the ones that are giving back. Not only do our students get in their schools, but then they also, those alumni associations have funding to give those kids. So it's just a really amazing relationship when you talk about from the student to the alumni to the parents. It's full circle, and I'll tell anybody, you know, I'll put any HBCU up against any school, because for me, it is not where you go, but it's what you do when you get there.
All right.
All of them will get you where you want to go, but you got to do your part. We have kids that have studied abroad in Paris and in the UK. We got kids that are doing cancer research, you know, at our HBCUs. See, nobody's telling that story. And we got to tell that story. We got to let them know, you don't have to go to Georgia State. You don't have to go to Tech. You don't have to go to University of Georgia to study cancer research, to go to NASA. You don't have to do that. HBCUs will do there. So,
listen, you done said a handful. You are like, we're about to use you as our commercial. You need to please keep the Real University on your tongue. Let them know, because literally we are 3 HBCU graduates that have the same desire to proclaim what you are saying, what you guys are doing, the work you're providing out here. I heard a statistic the other day, blew my mind. I had to look it up, and it's true. Georgia State graduates more African American students than any HBCU. I had to really hear that.
Well, but let me understand it. Yeah, but let me tell you why, though, because that's what these counselors are pushing. Right. No one. We have more students that will say. One of the things we do too is we allow the students to tell us where they want to go. We say pick your top 3, because we know if they don't like it, they're not going to do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
That's so true.
And even when we're doing our applications, they're putting Kennesaw, they're putting Georgia State.
Because it's what they know.
Because that's what they know.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you why. It's not that it's what they know. It's the state government machine. They want to keep all of their students within the state, because they're feeding the economy in that state.
Yeah.
So anywhere you go, you know, I love to call them big state universities. Shouts out to Heath Guy Game. But that's the plan, because these states have to keep their own revenue here. They don't want people going other places. That's why they make it so much more enticing to go to the state-funded universities, lower fees. And again, they also know that the minority population, in order to keep them under control, or keep them to a point where they're quote unquote indebted to them. Well, look what we did for you. So again, understand the machine, know the game.
Yeah.
Right. And then one of the other things that statistic that you mentioned, Mia, was, remember, HBCUs have a small footprint. The larger state universities can accept more students at one time. Right. And then also coupled with the fact that, again, a lot of the HBCUs that students desire to go to are in different states. And one of the things that we all talk to each other about is, if this is your opportunity to go to someplace else, see how other folks live, do, how, what, when, and where, take that opportunity, because we always say home is always here.
Yeah.
So again, it's that. So I hate those statistics a lot of the times, because sometimes you don't know the year of the study,
and they're skewed.
They're skewed, and you don't even know how large the sample set is. But again, we had our episode where we talked about propaganda, but it's also just to say, hey, Georgia, look at what we're doing for the African Americans during an election year. I could go on and on forever, but I'm gonna stop there.
Well, Carolyn, listen, we appreciate the work you're doing. I have one more question before we let you go. I see that you're always looking for partners. What does that look like? I mean, I would love to figure out how the Real University could be a partner, even if it's just showing up with some of your events, having a real conversation with students about the HBCU experience. But just for people to understand, are you looking for partners in mentoring? Are you looking for partnerships in schools? Like, we want to make sure we get out what you guys are looking for, so we can continue to spread the word about all the wonderful work that you're doing.
We are looking for it all, because what we realize is that we've only got 14 institutions that are we're participating right now. We need to get the word out. So we need somebody that's gonna help us continue to spread our message. You know,
Okay.
folks that are gonna come in and give us, you know, funding. Funding's always one, but the bigger piece is getting these folks the word out to know your kids have options.
Okay.
There are institutions that will take your kids and allow them to change the trajectory of their lives if they just do their part. So any kind of publicity, any kind of sharing of our organization is greatly appreciated and welcomed. And we would love to partner with you guys too on a more permanent basis, because this is
Absolutely.
this is good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, you got Grambling above you. You got 2 Morgan. We have, I mean, we're right here in the AU, what do they call it? The AUC, Clark Spelman Morehouse. No reason why they're not on your list as partners as universities, especially with you being here in the hub of Georgia. We have a couple of different schools, so we definitely will begin. And this is why we do this, so we can know. And what you have is 3 power mouths right here in front of you. We get to talking. We start having, we'll be in, where are we going? We're going to be in Houston at the end of the month with the Grand Fam, having fun with Andy out there, just doing what we do and having that conversation. So absolutely, we are so happy, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here. It was such a pleasure meeting you. And I knew that, y'all, I saw her at this college fair on Saturday, and I walked up, I said, you know, I already said your name to my partners 3 times. I'm calling you on Sunday. I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna call you on Sunday, but I can't wait to talk to you, because it was just a wonderful meeting and just a wonderful conversation that we had for the moment we met. So thank you so much for being here and taking the time. We look forward to the work.
Well, thank you for having me. And listen, when you guys go to Houston, let me know. I've got an executive director down there I'd like to connect you with.
Oh, for sure.
We have an office in Houston.
Oh, for sure. Wait, Andy, is that where we're going to be, Houston or Dallas?
We're going to be in Dallas, Texas at the Cotton Bowl for the State Fair Classic.
Oh, okay.
Fairview, Grambling. We're going to do our thing and represent very well.
Yes, ma'am. But we definitely will, Carolyn, keep in touch. You have my direct number. I'm very excited about what this can look like. And I just appreciate you guys advocating for our students in a way that no one even knows. So we definitely have to spread the word. And could you just, for the sake of us knowing, repeat one more time how we can find you on all the platforms?
Absolutely. You can find us on Instagram. It's 5 Strong Scholarship. That's on Instagram and on Facebook. Our website is www.5strongscholars.org. If you go to our website, you'll see a little bit more about our program. You'll see all of the HBCUs that we are connected with. We've got a couple events. We've got a gala coming on in December and a golf tournament this week. But you guys, anytime you are in town, you are welcome. Thank you for this opportunity to just kind of highlight my organization that I love so dearly and to kind of give back in any way I can. So thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time.
All righty. Bye, guys.
All right. Have a good one.
Okay.
Be out.
Bye-bye.